It is a horrendous time to be Pierre Poilievre right now. Breaking news, innovative research, one of the few conservative-leaning pollsters that gave the edge to Pierre by 6 points in its previous poll, now has Mark Carney and the Liberals up by 2. And for the first time in like a decade, 338 and CBC both predict a Liberal majority government. Now, obviously, this does not mean a thing. Canada has a consistent history of these big swings in parties when an incumbent government's leader steps down and the new candidate comes in and the polls skyrocket for them, which makes it incredibly clear just how important it is to get out and vote. Seriously, all this means nothing. Go get a friend or 2 or 9 and go vote Liberal and Mark Carney, please. But with the obligatory get the fuck out and vote and the polls don't mean a goddamn thing out of the way, I think it's safe to say that Pierre Poilievre is shaping up to be the biggest political loser since Kim Campbell or George McGovern. Never before in any country's politics in my entire lifetime have I seen a pollster go from, plus 35 CPC to, plus 6 Liberal. I've never seen that before, ever. And the Tories keep coping with this by saying, oh, Mark Carney's gonna crumble in the debates. I don't think he will. I think Pierre will most likely win the debates, but Canada's kind of soured on Pierre Poilievre and this attack dog strategy. If Pierre Poilievre walks into the debate with the whole my Brookfield asset management move, it's Jover. If that happens, he will very quickly realize that no one fucking cares and that stuff is not going to get him any votes. But it's not just the English debate that I think won't go as well for Pierre as people think. I don't even think the French debate's gonna go as well for Pierre as people think. Pierre, in my opinion, with my butchered, horrible mix of mainland and French immersion French, does speak better French than Mark Carney, but Pierre's French also kind of sucks dick. He's very confident, don't get me wrong, and maybe some Frenchies can tell me what they think in the comments section, but Pierre's French isn't the end-all be-all.
Il y en a qui disent que je suis trop intense avec les journalistes et les autres politiciens. Le duo libéral Carney-Trudeau qui a doublé la dette nationale, moi, c'est ça que je trouve intense. Ramenant le gros bon sens, chez nous.
Quebec is like a little slice of Europe inside America, or North America. They are pretty left-leaning. Any magical Quebec voter that is already slightly right-wing and was gonna vote for the Liberals or the Bloc, we're reaching here already. Here's Pierre Poilievre's fucking désolé, où est la shitter level French and moves over to the CPC? Are we in fucking Fantasyland over here? I think I was going to vote for Mark Carney, but now I think I'm going to vote for Pierre Poilievre tabernacle. I don't think that's gonna... Now, the argument could be made that Mark Carney's French is just so fucking awful that it'll just tear away Liberal support and it'll go to the Bloc. And maybe. But also, we're at the point where we're just hoping and praying that Mark Carney has not done any French prep or practice since his fucking declaration of Hamas a month ago.
We all agree on Hamas, on a two-state
No, we don't agree with
solution.
Hamas. No, we're against
Yes,
Hamas,
we're all against
absolutely.
Hamas, we are.
But even if Mark Carney does lose support because of this, wouldn't that support most likely go to Monsieur Blanchet or the NDP? Both these people, in my opinion, speak better French than Pierre Poilievre. The two people who are much more likely to do a deal with the Liberals in exchange for a few political favors. And all of this neglects the fact that the Liberals have a comfortable lead in the polls right now. Every single major polling organization now has them with a comfortable lead over the Tories. The Liberals only really need to tie with the Conservatives to win a majority government. And the other parties are much more willing to work with the Liberals if they win a majority. So to really win the election, the Tories need to outright get a majority government, something they are looking 10 to 15 points away from doing. The prospects for the Conservatives look bleak. Of course, anything can happen. But that being said, the prospects for the Conservatives look bleak. If I was a betting man, I would put money on Carney. And the only reason I would do this is because Pierre Poilievre won't fully disassociate from Trump. Now, some of you are probably in my comment section right now being like, what, Hudson, what do you mean? Trump actually endorsed Mark Carney. Man, if you fall for that Roadrunner painted wall type shit, that's fine on you, but me and the rest of Canadians are just gonna run through that. I don't care who you are. This post does not come off as enough of a rebuke. Every time Pierre has come out and said something that is even slightly critical of Trump, it always comes off weird.
Thank you. We'll now take question.
Good morning, Mr. Poilievre.
Good morning.
JP Tasker from CBC News.
Thank you.
Do you respect Donald Trump?
I respect the office of the President of the United States, and we have to show respect to other world leaders. The bottom line...
all right, bro. Thank you for taking a break from jiggling his fucking balls to look him in the eyes. I really appreciate it. One of the main reasons that Pierre can't and won't delve from Trump all that much is because he can't. There's two countries right now, Canada and the United States of America. Of these two governments, one is conservative and the other is a liberal. I think it's really telling that Canadian conservatives are coming out more for the American conservatives than the liberal Canadians. And this isn't just Pierre. Horrible, cocksuck conservative YouTubers like Mr. Sunshine Baby have said things like Doug Ford is a fat pig, all the while looking like this, but have come out and said they support Donald Trump. At a time where our sovereignty is being threatened, the idea that you would hurl insults at Canadians and laugh chummy with the Americans proves you are nothing but a traitorous conservative rat. I'll probably make a whole video on Mr. Sunshine Baby and other YouTubers in general. Not like some content cop where I try and kill his career, but like a video where I just show all the ways that I want him to improve and be a better figure in the space. But take this clip for example.
Outcry after BC conservatives invite pro-Trump YouTuber into legislator. Who says that I'm pro-Trump? Have I said that I'm pro-Trump? I mean, they've even quoted some of my tweets. This is such a shit show. This has ruined Canada and America relations for many years. To my American friends, I'm sorry. That's a pretty fair thing to say, right? I'm sorry that we're all going through this. It's also Canadian. It's Canadian culture to apologize. Over-apologize. We all know that. So in fact, that's the most Canadian tweet you could have made. To Justin Trudeau, F you, buddy.
Government House leader came to Bailey's defense, pointing the finger at a guest of a Conservative MLA.
Prince George resident Jasper Sunshine, popular YouTuber best known as Mr. Sunshine Baby, is with us.
He has a strong following online with clear opinions.
Look, I'm a huge Trump fan.
But his commentary on Ontario...
I'm okay. I guess I did say I'm a Trump fan. Let's take a look now at the fat pig mentality that Doug Ford has. Here we go.
Fat pig Doug Ford in Ontario is ready to cut off the power.
Here it is.
Fat pig Doug Ford in Ontario is ready to cut off the power, and liberals are cheering him on. Woo! Wow, the media and the NDP radicals do really take things out of context. I think that his mentality absolutely is that of a disgusting, morbidly obese fat pig mindset. It's gross what Doug Ford is doing.
What he's railing on about is the CPC merely mentioned him in a new broadcast because he was in a BC parliament, and an MPP mentioned his Doug Ford comment about how he called Doug Ford a fat pig while saying he supports Trump. And his argument was that he didn't mean to say that Doug Ford was a fat pig. He meant to say that he had the mentality of a fat pig, even though he said Doug Ford's a fat pig. I cannot think of a more childish, special needs way to evade accountability for something you said, but all right, whatever. No, you don't understand. I didn't call your black friend the N-word because I'm racist. I said it to save Palestine. Or take Premier of Alberta, Danielle Smith, who I fucking hate. Got a little out of hand there. I'm the real in. She announced she would be using taxpayer money to fly into the United States and do a fundraiser tour for PragerU with Ben Shapiro. I want to say this again. The premier of a province is using taxpayer dollars, realistically speaking, to promote her own personal interests. That also coincides with the faction of people who want to annex us and strip us of our sovereignty. But don't worry, if you are confused why I'm so angry, don't worry, I'll inform you on that. And she announced this play on the same day it was announced that the Sexual Assault Center of Edmonton, which gives help to women and men and kids, was shutting down all new intakes for adult, child, and youth and group counseling, citing significant budget cuts. She is using taxpayer dollars to fly to the States and do a fucking fundraiser for PragerU while cutting funds to the Sexual Assault Center of Edmonton, which gets its funding from, oh, no fucking wonder. Oh, I hate this woman with a fucking passion. Kids are getting fucking raped, by the way. Don't care. I'm on a private fucking Alberta jet to fucking PragerU. Oh my God. So why? Why the fuck can't Pierre Poilievre really come out against Trump, and why can't Mr. Sunshine Baby, every other conservative cocksuck YouTuber, and Danielle Smith, why can't they stop? Surely a huge portion of conservatives have to be pro-American, right? Like a disgusting fraction, 21%. Roughly 1/5 of the Conservative Party of Canada would vote yes for annexation to the United States. 21%. That's it. Now that number is single-handedly 10 times that of the liberal amount. But in the grand scheme of things, 21% is nothing. At this point, it would be genuinely politically profitable to kill off any amount of goodwill for the base and try to beg and plead with the center to take you back looking at this polling. But for some reason, they can't do it. Mark Carney won't even speak to the Americans till the threats to our sovereignty stop. And Danielle fucking, oh, I hate her. So why? Why in the world won't Pierre actually stand up and do anything on the level of Doug Ford or even Mark Carney? I touched on this earlier, but Canadian conservatives align more with the current American government that is run by conservatives rather than the current Canadian government run by the liberals. And you might say, well, that's obvious, Hudson. They're conservatives. They would prefer a conservative government. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying a Canadian conservative sees themselves closer to the American conservatives than to the Canadian liberals. That is not good. Good Lord. Realistically speaking, Al Gore probably should have won the 2000 election if we're being up on the up and up. But George Bush became president. Cut to September 12th, the entire United States had completely wrapped themselves around him, topping out with a 90% approval rating. Let me tell you something. 90% of the United States did not become Republicans. Liberals consistently side with conservative governments when shit hits the fan, and they do not deserve it. Fucking Chuck Schumer bended and broke to every conservative demand and cut $800 billion to fucking SNAP or Medicaid when the conservatives were like, pass the budget, I dare you. What the fuck is happening? But what do conservatives do? Well, Pierre Poilievre's Twitter would have you believe that Canada's biggest enemy is Mark Carney. I am completely fed up with this shit. I think it's really about the time that Canadian conservatives take a fucking step back, read the room, regroup, and realign their targets. I am sick and tired of people like Pierre Poilievre stewing up nothing but misinformation and fucking divisiveness in my country. I'm proud of my prime minister. I'm proud of my country. I'm proud of its story, and I'm especially proud of all the things we've done to make sure that I can be proud of that story. Canada has done more than almost any other country when it comes to making the people we've hurt whole again. And we will not stop until we completely have. I am not proud of the leader of the opposition's fucking Twitter account. I'm proud of the fact that I live in the best fucking country, on the best fucking continent, in the best time in human fucking history. I will not accept any other fucking sentiment. I am done giving these anti-Canadian American fucking meat riders any more ground from now until I'm 6 feet in the fucking grave, either because of old age or defending my country from foreign threats. I'm committed to not giving any fucking thing to people who hate my country. Not 1 mile, not 1 meter, and not 1 inch. Pierre Poilievre is on Twitter right now talking about Mark Carney, saying, oh my god, Donald Trump endorsed Mark Carney. I don't give a fuck about Mark Carney's conflicts of interest, like a few $1 million in assets that he may or may not have in the American market, especially considering he placed every fucking dime of that besides his house in a blind trust. But I do care about Pierre Poilievre's conflict of interest, like being part of a movement that sees itself as more conservative than more Canadian, and a movement that's more focused on appeasing the half of its base that want to give up its sovereignty than the loud and vocal majority who want not a goddamn fucking thing to do with such a batshit notion. Especially considering that Pierre Poilievre doesn't have his fucking security clearance. Everyone's talking right now about conservative MPs who might be Chinese plants. I don't even give a fuck about that anymore. I care about the conservative MPs who might be being paid by the Americans. For those of you who don't know, if you're given security clearance and are given information that is top secret, you are not allowed to abuse that information and lie about it. If I'm given top secret information, I can't lie and say like, oh, that liberal MP is paid by the Chinese. Because if he isn't, well, we're kind of in a pickle, aren't we? Then we might have to release top secret information. It would be a complete shit show. Which means Pierre Poilievre is willing to put the security and integrity of Canadian democracy at risk of being compromised, also he can continue to spew lies and misinformation against his political opponents, like I talked about in this video. Like, it's not about like, I don't know, like what taxation policy is better. It's they give you a report and you can't lie about what you read in that report. These people are more loyal to the letter that is next to their name and what color it is than whether the only 2 colors they see when they look up at the Canadian flag is red, white, and not 1 fucking speck of blue. This is such an embarrassment to the party I used to call my home. I proudly voted for Aaron O'Toole in my high school mock election because I was a teenager. I mean, I'm 19, but whatever. Aaron was largely similar to the liberals. He was a moderate conservative, and I liked that. The one thing he was willing to stride away from the liberals on was patriotism. He was hands down way more patriotic than Trudeau at the time. In a time when you couldn't go 5 seconds without seeing people shit on this country, and it was genuinely politically dangerous to do so. I saw him as someone who would defend this country and admit its wrongdoings. Someone who stuck their neck out for the ideals of this country and patriotism. A true progressive conservative. Now, we can argue about my interpretation at the time of those things, but how come when this country existing is at genuine risk, the people who have been taking up the mantle of defending this country are the communists, socialists, and broader far left, who are bucking the NDP to vote for Carney, and the Frenchies, who 5 seconds ago wanted the country to fucking fall apart. I'm genuinely so fucking sorry to Quebecers on the far left that I ever doubted you guys. When all this blows over and you guys go right back to hating this country, I'll look you guys in the eye when you yell a French slur at me, and there'll be a little twinkle. And I know that the next time that shit hits the fan, you guys will be there for me. I'm gonna double equalization payments.
The video is done. If you enjoy these, I'm trying to edit like good videos, like kind of like JJ McCullough style. If you enjoy these like video essays, like edited videos on like a daily news time frame, please feel free to please subscribe. Please do it. Please. I'm trying my best to put out as many videos as I need to get to 1,000 subscribers for my birthday on March 29th. And I'm about to die and kill myself. So please subscribe, please, or I'll fucking